Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving straight into some absolutely fascinating research in material science to completely demystify induction cooking together. We're going to bypass all those flashy marketing buzzwords and dig right into the actual physics and chemistry of what's happening on your stove. So let's just dive right into it. Picture this. Have you ever experienced the sheer, visceral pain of ruining a brand new nonstick pan? Suddenly smelling these awful, toxic fumes in your kitchen? Or maybe you've looked down at your gorgeous $2,000 glass stove only to see a matrix of permanent scratches? Or what about trying to sear a steak and you just end up with these sad, gray, boiled edges? Look, if any of this sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. And the crazy thing is, the culprit isn't your cooking skills at all. It's actually a fundamental mismatch of materials. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the physics of induction, cast iron versus carbon steel, the true magnet test, the chemistry of pan seasoning, and finally, saving your glass stove.
Chapter 1, The Physics of Induction, Faraday's Law in the Kitchen.
Okay, if you're used to gas cooking, you're used to brute force fire. But induction, it's a precision instrument. The research shows that it actually operates on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So, underneath your glass stove is a copper coil. An alternating current runs through it, generating this rapidly oscillating magnetic field, usually somewhere between 20 and 50 kilohertz. When that field hits a magnetic or ferromagnetic material, it creates what are called eddy currents. The really big takeaway from the science here is that electrical resistance has to be absolutely minimized in the copper coil below, but totally maximized in the pan above to actually create heat. Chapter 2, Cast Iron vs. Carbon Steel, the great cookware to date. For generations, we've basically been told, hey, heavier is always better, right? Well, looking at the data for carbon steel versus cast iron, that myth totally collapses. Because induction relies on magnetic field homogeneity rather than bulk mass, excess thermal mass actually works against you. Cast iron is thick, up to 6.5 millimeters, and its heterogeneous microstructure practically scatters the magnetic flux. Just look at the temperature uniformity after a 2-minute preheat. Cast iron can vary by up to 70 degrees Fahrenheit from the center to the edge. That's exactly how you get gray meat next to burnt edges. Carbon steel, on the other hand, is thinner and has a near-ideal magnetic permeability. Its induction coupling efficiency is an incredible 92 to 96%, keeping the temperature uniform within just 3 to 5 degrees. So carbon steel is what gives you that empirically validated, predictable heat distribution. Moving right along to Chapter 3, the true magnet test, precision protocol, not guesswork. You know that old trick where you just grab a simple fridge magnet to prove your pan will work? Yeah, the data shows a whopping 62% of home cooks misidentify their pan's compatibility doing exactly this. A weak magnet might easily give you a false positive, and this leads to horrific inefficiencies, which is exactly what triggers your stove's error codes, like E0 for no pan detected or U0 for a pan that's too small. It can literally even cause internal coil arcing. No thank you. So instead of guessing, the experts recommend a really rapid precision protocol. Step 1. Get a 12mm N52 grade neodymium magnet. Step 2. Place it at the exact center of the pan's underside, not the edges, the center. Step 3. Verify that it resists a vertical pull of at least 2.8 kilograms of force. And step 4, which is super important, verify the base flatness is within 0.15 millimeters using a straight edge and a feeler gauge to measure the tiny gaps. Why go through all this trouble? Because a warped base reduces heating efficiency by up to 47%. That is a massive loss. And when we look at how this impacts everyday cooking, it turns out a shocking 78% of nonstick pans actually degrade faster on induction. Now, it's not the pan's fault at all. It's just because users carry over their old gas stove habits. They just blast the heat to high, and because induction is so insanely fast and efficient, they blow right past the 450-degree Fahrenheit breakdown limit of the PTFE coating in under 90 seconds. You literally have to modulate your power on induction. All right, Chapter 4, Chemistry of Pan Seasoning, Unveiling the Polymerization Myth. There's this massive fear floating around online that pan seasoning is basically just plastic. But we found this really fascinating discourse on Reddit, where a PhD polymer engineer offered a brilliant analogy. When you heat an oil on a carbon steel or iron substrate, the short-chain molecules get long enough to intertwine, kind of like spaghetti. They bond together into this complex, cross-linked network. The oil literally transforms into a polymer. But here is the absolutely crucial distinction to debunk that scary plastic label once and for all.
Seasoning is a cross-linked thermoset polymer. Most of the everyday plastics we think of, like milk jugs, are thermoplastics, meaning they can be melted back down. A thermoset polymer cannot be melted back down without destroying the material entirely. So it's a highly durable organic chemical reaction that forms your nonstick layer.
Now, actually seasoning a pan on an induction stove, it's kind of tricky because of the rapid center heating thermal gradient, which pushes the oil away from the middle. So here are some strictly evidence-backed kitchen hacks. First, use high polyunsaturated fats, like grapeseed or refined avocado oil, with an iodine value over 120, which essentially just means it's a drying oil that polymerizes well. Second, to counteract the magnetic field pulling the oil, wipe it only on the cooking surface, working outward in concentric circles for about 45 seconds. Finally, please do not blast the heat. Start at 30% power for 5 minutes and then slowly ramp it up to 60% for 15 minutes. Doing this absolutely prevents the uneven seasoning and edge rust that's so common on induction. And finally, Chapter 5, Saving Your Glass Stove, Defending the Diva of the Kitchen. Let's address a very visceral fear that was highlighted by experts on Taobao. Is your ridiculously expensive glass cooktop going to scratch? Well, the short answer is yes, for sure, if you weren't careful. A recent 30-minute high-heat stir-fry stress test on a ceramic top in Taipei actually proved that a standard textured wok will leave these nasty micro-scratches radiating right from the center. To prevent this, stress tests point us to a pretty strict checklist. First off, if a pan claims it has a flat bottom, that's often a total lie, hiding a tiny inward curve or microconcavity created by traditional spinning methods. What you need is verified machined flatness, ground down to a tolerance of less than 0.3 millimeters. You also need thick gauge steel, 2 millimeters or more, to resist permanent thermal warping. And lastly, there can be absolutely no raised rims or sharp transitional ledges. But honestly, the absolute most important factor here, even more than gauge thickness, is the surface roughness. You really need to look for a polished machined base with an R value below 0.4 micrometers. Basically, it needs to be microscopically smooth. A rough black oxide finish might be great for rust prevention, but dragging a rough wok across ceramic glass, it's literally like driving a Ferrari with gravel stuck in its tires. It's going to cause some serious damage, so always check that surface finish. Wow. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of materials science today, from Faraday's law all the way to thermoset polymers and machined flatness tolerances. The most powerful kitchen hack out there isn't some quick shortcut. It's the disciplined application of verifiable science. So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. When you step into your kitchen tonight, are you cooking with physics or are you just guessing? Test your pans, measure objectively, and adjust deliberately. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and I'll catch you next time.